This is John SCHABEN of the Dunlap Livestock Auction, bringing you our market report from May 19th, also on May 20th. First, our weekly auction on Tuesday, featuring fed cattle and weigh cows. We had 120 fed cattle on Tuesday, and the market starting to get better. 112.50 was the top, and 112 on the heifers. A lot better buyer activity. We're still missing one major packer. The way it sounds, hopefully they're going to be back in the next week or two. And they bought those cattle sure at a lot higher undertone. The bulk of the fat cattle that were had a good finish trade from 109 to 112. Very few Holsteins, most select grade. They were kind of in the middle 70s. The weigh cow trade, we had 350 weigh cows. The market was fully steady. That puts the bulk of the cows kind of 55 to 65. Your lower yielding cows will be down in the 40 to 50 range. From bulls, kind of 85 to $1 with, if you get any kind of a yielding bull, they're pretty good. He'd bring 90 plus. So that market's holding in really good. Some of those young feeding heiferettes, really would be awfully good, kind of 75 to into the nice 90s. And so if you do have a few cows to move, that market isn't all bad, especially when you go back to last fall when it was pretty sick trade, so it doesn't feel too bad. The cow auction on Wednesday was outstanding. Had a nice run, about 1,000 total head, of which that was about 60 breeding bulls. As always, our auctions are on CattleUSA.com. It's really been a big boost through these bred sales. We've been getting a lot of internet trade. I'd say 100 females probably on this auction. Maybe 10 breeding bulls went on the internet, so that was nice. I thought we had good quality all the way through. Featured one nice dispersal of cows, some first calf heifer pairs. Kind of give you in the trade, the real front end first calf heifer pairs traded from 2,000 to 2,250, and that would touch several heifers in that category. Probably just trying to think here, but at least 80 fell into that category. The smaller frame first calf heifers, for example, we had a sweetheart set of red Angus heifers, but they wouldn't be the biggest heifers. They had a great set of calves, but those pairs kind of traded that 18 to 1900. They were pretty nice kind, just not the big frame kind of cattle. So those smaller frame first calf heifers, 1750, the pairs to 2000. The younger pairs, which takes a cow up to 6 years old, they traded from 1,700 to 2,000. The medium age pairs, which is a 6-year-old to anything with a solid mouth at our place, were kind of 14 to 1,750. I think we had an 1,800 scratch top on the medium age pairs. On the age pairs, obviously it depends a lot on how big that cow is, how big that calf is, but they trade basically 11 to 1,500 based on what they were. You know, a big calf with a pretty good sized cow, you could split those calves if they weighed 180 to 200 pounds and they'd bring $500. And so if you had that 1,300 pound cow that had quite a bit of yield to her, you know, she's worth eight something to go to market, so it wasn't hard to 13 something. You kind of had to press those cows at 14.50 to get them back home, of which they did. We split very few on Wednesday. We did have some bred cows, and they were in there buying them pretty good. 1,200 to kind of 1,600 on those younger good bred cows, and that'd be a cow that would calve here kind of in the next month. We didn't have really much more to the summer fall calving cows. They'd be those things don't look too bad, but we also didn't show any numbers where you could buy big groups of them. But I was just thinking of a few odd cows going to calve here in the next 3-4 months. You're buying them things from 850 to 1,000, and so they don't look too terribly bad. I told you we had around 60 breeding bulls. I thought that trade was really active. You never know how that bull thing's going to go, but we let off right away with some nice bulls. I think the first breeding bull in a ring bring 2,500, and in the first 10 bulls, well, actually in the first 20 bulls, I mean, we sold several over 2, had one bull at 3,100, and that thing remained pretty strong all the way through. So it was a great bull trade. We'll be back in 2 weeks now. Our cow auctions are going to move to Tuesday, which is just our weekly auction, and they'll be that way. We'll have 2 special cow auctions in June. The one coming up the first Tuesday in June, which I believe is the 2nd, we'll have the Klein Angus, the 2-year-old Virgin 2 bulls that will be in with about 15 of those, and the guys sure like them. They're in perfect shape. They run out and they breed a lot of cows. You'll really like that set of bulls, and we'll lead that auction off with those Klein bulls, and then And then we'll move in with our cows, and we've got three nice sets of pairs listed. I think there is 250 pairs already on that auction, so we should be in pretty good shape and a perfect turnout time the first week in June. Grass situation around here is starting to look pretty darn good. So if you need some of those cow-calf pairs, be there on the seats on the June 2nd sale. As always, thank you all for all your business. We really appreciate it. I know these are sickeningly tough times for everybody out here. Most of you would have heard, and I'm sure if you're watching this and if you're on the internet, that CARES Act did provide some relief funding to the cattlemen, and if you haven't heard, I guess I have the figures here in front of me. But if you sold cattle from January 15th to April 15th, the thing gets pretty lucrative for and you're going to see payments kind of from basically $100 up to $214 on a fed steer. If for some reason you didn't market any cattle or you don't even have anything to claim in there, there's still a second provision, what they're calling Part 2, and that just gives you a payment on your inventory. So this will really take notice to all our cow-calf producers. If you have 100 cows and calves on the ground, you're going to be able to claim for those cows and calves, and that claim is just on inventory of $33 a head. So you want to look that up. You want to talk with your farm service agency. Folks, it sounds like there'll be a self-certification program from what I understand. I'm not sure that you can't do this all online. I don't think you'll have to go into the office. The only thing I would tell you is I would guess after the payments come out and everything else, sounds like they're going to do an 80% payment up front. And if there's enough money left over, they'll honor the 20% after. I've been telling everybody I don't think I'd budget for it all, just the way they make it sound to me. But it sure sounds like they're kind of guaranteeing you're going to get 80% of that and get it pretty quick. So make sure and have your house in order. Make sure you're going to have corresponding paperwork. So I'm sure there's going to be an audit trail coming down for some people, and we sure want you to make sure you're doing that. But I'm probably not a big person to push out the government programs. I've never really participated in any of them myself as a livestock producer. Myself, I fully plan on participating in this program. I encourage all my customers to do the same thing. So I think it would be crazy not to sign up and take advantage of a program that is out there coming through the CARES Act. You're welcome to call me if you have any questions, but a lot of it can be found online, and if you haven't done so, and I would, folks, if you know your neighbors those the guy or gal down the road that maybe isn't online, doesn't go that route, and I understand that totally, but I think it's time we look out for those people just a little bit too. Make sure they don't miss out on this program, because I know a lot of the activity through this whole thing has always been online, so we sure don't want our producers to miss out on it. Final thing coming into the weekend here with Memorial Day, as we honor the people that we've lost in our military, and that ultimate sacrifice that they've all paid to give us all the freedoms to do what we do and what we love to do, and speak the great language that we get to speak in this country for all the people that fought for all the freedoms that we have. Thanks doesn't seem enough. It's a pretty special weekend to honor all those that we've lost, and I always said it's a beautiful time of the year as we travel across the rural countryside here and see all our rural cemeteries decorated so beautifully, and to remember those special people we honor and that ultimate sacrifice that they've given. So to any military families out there, especially all of you that have lost those that mean the most to you, we all send us, especially all of us here from the Dunlap Livestock Auction Center, our very best out to you all. I hope you all have a safe weekend. We'll be back Tuesday with our weekly auction, and then we have a special calf and yearling auction next Friday to end up the month of May. This is John SCHABEN with the Dunlap Livestock Auction.